let me cut across to Congress's Manish Tiwari joining us for more. Manish Tiwari, the Congress has made nearly 170 crores in electoral bonds between 2022-23. Most of it may have been already encashed. How would you view this verdict today by the Supreme Court?
Well, I think I'll reverse the question. The question really should be going to those who've got 90% of the money out of those electoral bonds as to how they're going to account for it. So I think there is a far, far more deeper issue involved. And the deeper issue is that the Supreme Court has come to the correct conclusion that electoral bonds, especially their opacity, is something which is fundamentally detrimental to democracy. There has always been this 600-pound gorilla in the room, which is political financing and electoral campaign financing. This is a step in the correct direction to make the entire paradigm of political funding, whether it is how political parties are funded from the booth level to the national level, or as to how elections are funded from the panchayat level to parliament. That needs to be completely transparent. Of course, the fine print will have to be read, but this is a judgment which is in keeping with the spirit of bringing about transparency to our democratic and political system.
Mr.
Joining
Tiwari,
us.
Yeah, Mr. Tiwari, if I can just jump in with a question. The fact that the Supreme Court has said that all the details of the donations that have been made so far need to be published on the Election Commission website by mid-March. How do you see this development and how is this likely to impact the upcoming 2024 Lok Sabha polls?
Well, the Supreme Court has spoken, and so therefore it is, and if I remember the composition of the bench correctly, it is the four future CJIs and the current CJI who make up the Constitution bench. So therefore, if five senior-most judges of the Supreme Court have arrived at a certain conclusion, I'm informed 4:1, that judgment will have to be respected. And therefore, the government would obviously try to file a review, to try and see if certain things can be delayed. But the court has given a very, very strict timeline. And that timeline should be observed. Let people know as to who's donated what to which political party.
But it also very vociferously argued in the Supreme Court saying that this is a means of curbing black money in political funding. But that's not an argument that seems to have stuck with the Supreme Court, that today said that there are many other ways of curbing black money and has in fact struck down this entire scheme. So do you think electoral bonds was not as effective in curbing black money in political funding?
See, black money is that bugbear which is dragged out of the closet to make convenient arguments or self-serving arguments. That was the argument made for demonetization also, that it will curb black money. What was the money in circulation when demonetization happened on the 8th of November 2016? It was 16 lakh crores. What is the money in circulation, in the cash in circulation in the economy today? If I remember correctly, it is close to 37 or 38 lakh crores. So this is nothing but a very, very convenient whipping boy, which is dragged out to try and justify the most insidious of schemes.
Right, just one last question before we let you go. The Supreme Court, in very clear words, mincing no words, has said that the public has a right to know where the money is coming for the political parties. Is this going to be a big flashpoint, especially for the opposition, leading up to the 2024 Lok Sabha polls?
Well, the United Progressive Alliance government had brought in the Right to Information Act. Right? The Right to Information Act empowered people from the bloc to the national level. So as the pioneers of the Right to Information Act, we obviously would consider it incumbent that that all information with regard to political funding must come out. But I should add a caveat out here You see, people who are expecting that there would be some kind of an explosion must keep in mind that corporate donors are also very smart. In the first instance, all that you may find is a host of electoral trusts. And as to who's really behind those electoral trusts would then involve lifting the corporate veil. So I don't think, it is going to be, as transparent as people would expect it when the ECI publishes the information. But that, as I said, is only an apprehension which I have purely in a personal capacity as a lawyer.
Very important caveat there coming in from Congress's Manish Tiwari. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us.